The wheat field's on fire, and we're backing up blind. Smoke so thick I can't see the bow gunner 3 feet in front of me. Schneider's yelling, "Traverse left, traverse left." But the turret's jammed. Something's wrong with the hydraulics. Grinding metal smell mixing with burning grain. Then Torres screams, not wounded screaming, discovery screaming. I stick my head up through the hatch, and that's when I see them. 4 panthers, maybe 5, coming through the smoke like ships through fog, main guns already elevated. We're caught in a bowl with no reverse gear and nowhere to go. Torres is scrambling for the next shell, but his hands are shaking, dropping it, the round clattering on the floor between us. Through the smoke, I watch the closest panther's gun barrel stop moving, aimed at us, centered. And I'm thinking this is it. This is how it ends, when Torres gets the shell loaded and the breech slams shut with that sound like a prison door closing. I'm 98 years old now, sitting in Tucson where it never snows, and that was November 1944, 80 years ago in eastern France, and I still can't answer the question that keeps me up at night. How did a 43-year-old loader with arthritis in his fingers and 300 hours of tank training outlast 12 German panzers, crewed by men who'd been fighting since Poland? They called Torres past his prime, said he was too old, should be working logistics, pushing papers somewhere safe. But that day in the burning wheat field outside Moncourt, Fromentville, somehow we survived what shouldn't have been survivable. Lorraine Campaign, November 1944. We were 4th Armored Division, Patton Spearhead, pushing toward the German border through country that turned to mud every time it rained. The Germans were supposed to be retreating. That's what intelligence kept saying. But someone forgot to tell the 11th Panzer Division. I was gunner in an M4A1 Sherman Easy Company, 8th Tank Battalion. Sergeant Schneider commanded, Torres loaded, Franklin drove, kid named Patterson manned the bow gun, 18 years old. The Germans were done retreating. Every village became a fight. November 22nd, we got orders to probe German positions east of the village. Torres was checking his wedding ring when we rolled out. He did that before every mission. We left Moncourt at 7, 5 Shermans in a loose wedge. Fog sat thick in the valleys. Schneider kept us on high ground, following farm roads churned to soup. Torres was quiet, which wasn't like him. Usually he talked about his kids. Maria, 12, Anthony, 10, the twins Rose and Catherine, 7. He'd gotten a letter saying Anthony broke his arm. Torres kept reading it until the creases started to tear. Franklin had the throttle open. Patterson was singing under his breath. Frank Sinatra. His voice cracked on the high notes. We halted at a ridge overlooking a wheat field, harvested stubble poking through frost. Far side, maybe 800 meters, was the tree line. German positions, supposedly abandoned. Through the periscope, I saw fog and a burned farmhouse. That's when I heard it. Metal on metal, rhythmic. Someone working with tools. "You hear that?" Torres said. We went silent, except for the engine. There it was again. Clang, 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 patient, deliberate. "Could be civilians," Patterson offered. "Farmers don't work next to front lines," Schneider said. We rolled forward. Orders were orders, down into the field, fog swallowing us. Visibility dropped to 50 meters. I kept the gun traversed right, finger on trigger. Torres stopped checking his ring, both hands on the next shell. "This feels wrong," Franklin muttered. We were halfway across when the farmhouse exploded, An 88 shell air burst above our wingman. Shrapnel rattled off our hull. "Contact left!" Schneider screamed. The fog lit orange. Muzzle flashed 200 meters north. I swiveled, caught a glimpse. Low profile, long gun. Panther tank. Torres had the round loaded. Then 4 more Panthers appeared through fog. Guns aimed. We fired first. Pure luck. My round caught the lead Panther on the mantlet, glanced off, made them hesitate. 3 seconds. That saved us. "Back up," Schneider ordered. Franklin threw us in reverse, tracks chewing mud. German shells landed, short, over, then one hit 5 feet right, spraying dirt. The radio erupted, tanks calling contacts. Garrett reported 3 more Panthers. Easy 6 tried to impose order, but 2 tanks were burning. Torres kept loading. Steadier now. Anticipation is worse than the fight. Once shooting starts, training takes over. We reached the ridgeline, slewed sideways, hull down. I scanned through the sight. Fog lifting, burned away by fire. That's when I saw it all. Not 5 Panthers, 12. Dug in along the tree line, camouflaged, creating a killing box. 4 Panzer IVs flanking east. "Jesus Christ," Schneider whispered. "Deliberate ambush, set the night before. They'd been waiting." Patterson was crying. First real combat. "We gotta get out." "Breathe," Franklin said. I watched a Panther fire, saw it punch through Easy 4's turret. The Sherman stopped. Nobody got out. "Easy 6, this is Easy 2. Reinforced Panzer Company over." "Copy. Air support 20 minutes. Hold position. Return fire." 20 minutes. Torres met my eyes. 31 rounds, 16 German tanks. The Germans started ranging us. Methodical. First shell 50 meters short, second 30, third 15. "They've got us zeroed," Franklin said. "Wait for them to commit," Schneider said. The plan was to hurt them enough they'd pull back, wait for support. Make it not worth the cost. But German crews in late 44 weren't green boys. These were veterans, survivors. Torres was sweating despite the cold. Condensation on his breath fogged the breach. "How's your arthritis?" I asked. "Haven't felt it in 20 minutes, he said. "That's adrenaline for you." Radio chatter got worse. Easy 3 reported driver wounded, couldn't move. Easy 7 down to 4 shells. Someone screaming about fire, couldn't tell who. Then Patterson saw it. "Tank left, close." A Panzer IV had gotten through the fog, 120 meters away, traversing toward us. "Fire!" Schneider yelled. I was already squeezing. The Sherman bucked. Through smoke, I saw the round penetrate side armor, saw the turret blow off in sparks and metal. The hull burned. "Loaded!" Torres called. That's when the round hit us, not a penetration, glancing blow on turret side that rang the whole tank like a bell. My head bounced off the sight. I tasted blood. The engine kept running. We could move. "Damage!" Schneider yelled. "Turret's jammed!" The hydraulics whined but wouldn't traverse. We could only fire straight ahead. Torres was already moving, checking cables, looking for the failure. His hands worked fast, feeling connections in darkness. A second round hit the front glacis. Didn't penetrate, but rocked us hard. Patterson stopped screaming, went quiet. Shock, maybe. "I found it," Torres said. "Hydraulic line severed. Give me 2 minutes." Through the vision block, I counted muzzle flashes. 7, maybe 8. Panthers advancing now, not holding position. They'd decided to push. "Torres," Schneider said quietly, "we don't have 2 minutes." Torres kept working. His hands moved in darkness, feeling twisting metal. The hydraulics hissed like a dying animal. I watched the Panthers come. 200 meters, 180, 160. "Torres," I said. "Almost." "Torres." The turret jerked, hydraulics groaning back to life. "Try it now." I worked the controls. The turret swung left, rough but functional. I put the reticle on the lead Panther's glacis. Frontal armor, worst angle. But at this range, maybe. Fire! The shell hit low, sparked off ground, ricocheted up into the Panther's belly where armor was thin. The tank stopped, smoke venting. Not a kill, but damaged. "Loaded," Torres called. The second Panther fired. The world went white. When I could see again, the Sherman was full of smoke. Something burning, electrical fire, acrid and hot. Franklin was screaming he couldn't see. The front vision block had shattered, sprayed him with fragments. "Franklin!" Schneider yelled. "I can't see! Jesus Christ, I can't see!" Patterson scrambled up, pulling Franklin back from the controls. Blood ran down Franklin's face from a dozen cuts. His eyes were swollen shut. "Schneider," I said quietly, "who's driving?" Schneider looked at Torres. Torres looked at me. The Sherman was still running, still moving forward from when Franklin had it in gear. "Patterson," Schneider said, "you drive, now!" I'm not, now!" The kid climbed into the driver's seat, hands shaking so bad he could barely grip controls. The third Panther was traversing toward us. "Back up!" Schneider ordered. "Reverse!" Patterson found the gear, lurched us backward, not smooth, not fast, but moving. I kept the gun on the Panther, waiting for a shot. They fired first. The round went low, hit our track, and suddenly we were pivoting, spinning on one working track. Patterson fought the controls, engine roaring. "Track's gone!" he screamed. We couldn't move, couldn't run. Turret still worked, but we were stationary. Torres loaded anyway, always loading. That's what loaders do. I counted shots. Torres counted rounds. Schneider counted German tanks still moving. We fired, loaded, loaded. The Sherman filled with smoke so thick I could barely see the breach. Torres worked in darkness, hands finding shells by feel, loading by muscle memory from 2 wars. The Panthers kept coming. I got 1 Panzer IV in the side, clean penetration, fire. Torres loaded. I missed a Panther, round sailing high. Torres loaded. I hit another Panzer IV, mobility kill. It slewed sideways, blocking its partner. Franklin was crying in the back, holding his face. Patterson was hyperventilating in the driver's seat. Schneider was on the radio calling targets, requesting support. That wasn't coming, and Torres just kept loading. "How many left?" I asked. 9 rounds, Torres said, voice steady. Through the sight, I counted German tanks. Still 7 operational, 9 rounds, 7 tanks. Then I saw him. Schneider's wingman tank that I'd seen burning earlier. I thought everyone was dead. But the rear hatch opened and someone climbed out. Dark coveralls, moving fast, running toward us up the ridgeline. German fire kicked up dirt around him. "Someone's alive!" I yelled. "Someone made it!" Schneider looked through his periscope. "That's Martinez, their driver." Martinez was running full sprint, zigzagging, Germans shooting at him with everything. He was 200 meters out when a shell landed close enough to knock him down. He got back up, kept running. Patterson opened the turret hatch, waved him in. "Come on!" Martinez reached us, scrambled up the hull, dove through the hatch. He landed on Franklin, who screamed. "Sorry," Martinez gasped. "Everyone else gone, whole crew." "Can you see?" Schneider asked. "Yes." Driver's seat. Patterson, ball gun. They switched, Martinez still shaking, hands covered in burns. But he could see, could drive, and that's what mattered. "Torres," Schneider said, "how many rounds?" 8. A Panther shell hit the turret, another glancing blow. The whole tank rang. My ears were bleeding, warm trickled down my neck. But Torres loaded. I fired, hit. The Panther caught fire. Torres loaded. I fired, missed. Torres loaded. I fired, hit. Another Panther stopped. Turret jammed, crew bailing. Torres loaded, again. When the P-47s finally arrived, when fighter bombers came screaming through cloud cover dropping bombs on German positions, we had 1 shell left and 3 Panthers still moving. Torres loaded that last shell. I fired it into the closest Panther at 80 meters and watched it burn. Then we sat in the smoke and waited to see if anyone else would come. When the gun stopped, the silence felt wrong, too quiet, like the world had ended and forgotten to make a sound. Martinez shut down the engine. We sat there breathing cordite, listening to metal tick as it cooled. "Everyone okay?" Schneider asked. Nobody answered right away. Okay is relative. Franklin couldn't see. Patterson was crying quietly, hands over his face. Martinez had second-degree burns on both palms. Torres sat on the loader's seat, staring at his hands. They were shaking again now that it was over. Adrenaline leaving, arthritis coming back. I climbed out first. Needed air. The ridgeline looked like the end of the world. 6 Shermans burning, bodies in the wheat field. German tanks scattered across the tree line, some still cooking off ammunition. Easy Six's tank pulled up beside us. He looked old suddenly, though he couldn't have been 30. "Casualty report," he called down. "1 blind, 1 combat ineffective, 3 burns," Schneider said. "Empty racks." "You're the only operational tank in the company. Everyone else is dead, wounded, or mechanical." Schneider climbed out, stood on the turret, looked around. We'd knocked out 12 German tanks. 12, with 1 Sherman, 1 green driver, 1 blind driver, 1 burned replacement, 1 kid who couldn't stop crying, and a 43-year-old loader with arthritis. Torres climbed out last. He sat on the turret, hands in his lap, looking at nothing. "Hey," I said, "you okay?" He didn't answer for a long time. Then I kept thinking about my kids the whole time. Every shell I loaded, I thought, this one's for Anthony, this one's for Maria, this one's for the twins. Like if I could just keep loading, keep moving, I'd get to see them again. 37 men died in that wheat field. I learned their names later, copying them from casualty reports. I wanted to remember. Lieutenant Garrett, Sergeant Morrison, Corporal Daniels, all the others. Patterson stopped crying eventually. They transferred him to logistics. He never got in a tank again. Franklin got his sight back mostly after 3 surgeries, went home in March. Torres stayed, kept loading, all the way to the Elbe River. The Germans didn't try that tactic again in our sector. Whatever unit that was, they'd lost too many tanks. They pulled back that afternoon. We took Moncourt without firing a shot. The breakthrough that ambush was supposed to prevent, we made it. Pushed to the Saar River by mid-December. The ground we gained that day, that's where the supply dumps went that supported Patton's relief of Bastogne 3 weeks later. That wheat field where 37 men died bought time for 100 other operations. Torres got promoted to sergeant. They wanted him training new loaders, said he was too valuable to risk. He refused, stayed with us until Germany surrendered. Patterson recovered eventually. Saw him at a reunion in '62. He had kids by then, worked as a teacher, taught history. He'd show his students photographs from Lorraine, point out the burned wheat field. Martinez went back to California, became a mechanic, wrote me letters for 15 years, then they stopped. Heart attack in '68. 52 years old. Too young. Schneider, made captain, survived the war, became a police officer in Michigan. Killed in 1953, line of duty, responding to a domestic disturbance. After everything he survived in Europe, it was a drunk with a shotgun in Detroit. Franklin lost most of his vision despite the surgeries. Last I heard, he was living with his daughter in Oregon, blind in one eye, partial sight in the other. He told me once over the phone in '87 that he still dreams about that morning, still feels the fragments in his face, still hears Patterson screaming. Torres lived longer than any of us, made it to 92, died in 2013. I flew to Amarillo for the funeral. His kids were there, Maria, Anthony, the twins, all grown, with grandchildren, great-grandchildren. I tried to explain what their father had done that day, how his hands, those arthritic hands they'd seen shake trying to open pill bottles, had loaded 40 shells under fire, how he'd been called past his prime, should have been sent home. Anthony, 79 himself by then, said something I'll never forget. Dad never talked about the war, but every Thanksgiving he'd say grace, and he'd thank God for his hands. I did the math once. Torres's 4 kids had 12 children between them. Those 12 had 27. Those 27 have had 38 so far. That's 81 people who exist because Torres's hands didn't fail him that morning. Martinez had 3 kids. Patterson had 5. Franklin had 2. Schneider had 1, a daughter who became a doctor. Multiply it out. Factor in everyone those people married, their kids, their students, their patients. The drunk Schneider arrested who got sober and had a family. The student Patterson taught who became an engineer. The car Martinez fixed that didn't break down. You can't calculate it. The ripples go too far. But I know this. 12 German tanks knocked out by men who weren't supposed to win. A battle nobody remembers in a campaign that gets 2 paragraphs in history books. And somehow, hundreds of people are alive today because a 43-year-old loader with arthritis decided he wasn't too old to fight. They called him past his prime. Maybe he was. But that morning, past his prime was exactly what we needed. I'm 98 now. Torres has been gone 11 years. Patterson's gone. Martinez is gone. Franklin's probably gone. Haven't heard from his family in years. Schneider's been gone longest, 71 years. I still have the list I copied. 37 names. I read them on November 22nd every year out loud, sitting in my living room, even though there's nobody here to listen. Lieutenant Garrett, Sergeant Morrison, Corporal Daniels, all of them. The thing is, I still don't know if we survived that day because we were good or because we were lucky, or because Torres's hands held steady when they shouldn't have. Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe survival never makes sense, and looking for reasons is just something we do to feel like there was a plan, like it all meant something. What I know is this: I owe everything that came after to a man old enough to be my father, a man with arthritis who loaded shells until his fingers bled. His kids asked me at the funeral if I thought he was a hero. I said I thought he was a loader, one of the best I ever saw. That's all. That's enough.